the super smart CEO suit. Lily smoothed the lapel of her bright blue suit, admiring her reflection. The color was electric, almost daring. It wasn't just fabric and tailoring, it was armor. The super smart CEO suit, she'd nicknamed it. She felt powerful, capable, like she could negotiate world peace, or at least get the HOA to approve her rooftop garden proposal. "Mom, come look," she called, striking a pose. Elena Rodriguez, her mom, poked her head into the bedroom, a dish towel slung over her shoulder. "Ay, Mija, you look sharp. Going for that promotion already?" Lily puffed out her chest. "Better than that. I'm going to be a CEO. Own the whole company, make all the decisions, wear the suit every single day if I want to." Elena chuckled, but her eyes softened. "That's my girl. Always dreaming big. Just remember to work hard, be kind, and don't forget to call your mother even when you're running the world." Lily grinned, grabbing her briefcase. "Deal. World domination starts now." Outside, the city air buzzed with the usual chaotic symphony of car horns and construction. But today even the screech of brakes sounded like encouragement. She walked with a purpose, the heels of her sensible yet stylish pumps clicking against the pavement. In her mind, she was already in charge. She imagined the corner office, the view stretching out over the cityscape, a team of brilliant minds hanging on her every word. She'd foster a collaborative environment, promote from within, and definitely institute a mandatory nap time after lunch. A sudden splash jolted her back to reality. A rogue puddle, disguised as dry pavement, had claimed her left shoe. Lily groaned. Not a great start to her CEO day. She glanced around, hoping no one had noticed. That's when she saw her, Karen, from the HOA, standing across the street. A smug expression plastered on her face, and an empty spray bottle dangling from her hand. Mrs. Crabtree's glare. The floral explosion of Lily's power suit felt muted under Mrs. Crabtree's glare. Lily had been so excited to wear it. A vintage find she'd painstakingly restored. The vibrant sunflowers and fuchsia hibiscus a defiant splash against the HOA's beige landscape. She'd envisioned herself striding confidently into the community meeting, a beacon of fresh ideas. Instead, she felt like a wilted weed under Mrs. Crabtree's scrutiny. Agnes Crabtree, a woman whose face seemed permanently etched with disapproval, stood sentinel by the refreshment table, her thin lips pursed. Lily had heard whispers about Mrs. Crabtree, the self-appointed guardian of community standards, the terror of untrimmed hedges and unapproved paint colors. But she hadn't expected this level of intensity. Lily offered a tentative smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Crabtree. Lovely weather we're having." Mrs. Crabtree's eyes narrowed, traveling slowly, disdainfully, from Lily's bright yellow pumps to the top of her carefully coiffed hair. A barely audible sniff escaped her. Some might consider it overdressed. She muttered the words just loud enough for Lily to hear. Lily's smile faltered. Overdressed? It was a power suit, designed for taking charge, for making things happen. She glanced down at the offending garment, suddenly self-conscious. Was it too much? Too bold? She'd wanted to make a statement, to show everyone she was serious about revitalizing the community garden. Now she just felt exposed like a brightly colored butterfly pinned beneath a collector's gaze. Why didn't Mrs. Crabtree like her suit? Ambush at the bus stop. Lily practically skipped to the bus stop. Today was the day. Her interview at Sterling and Finch. The crisp lines of her navy suit felt powerful, the subtle scent of her perfume a confidence booster. She pictured herself already at a mahogany desk, brainstorming ideas, her voice ringing with authority. Rounding the corner, she saw Mrs. Crabtree standing stiffly by the bus shelter, clutching a small, blue spray bottle. Lily's stomach clenched. "Good morning, Mrs. Crabtree," Lily said, trying for a bright tone. Mrs. Crabtree's face was a mask of disapproval. "That outfit. It's hardly appropriate for this neighborhood." Lily frowned. "I think it's perfectly appropriate. I have an interview." "An interview? Doing what?" "Trying to pretend you're better than everyone else." Mrs. Crabtree advanced, her grip tightening on the bottle. "This community has standards, young lady. Decency. Modesty." Before Lily could respond, Mrs. Crabtree lunged forward, squeezing the trigger. A stream of liquid shot out, splattering across Lily's jacket. The acrid smell of bleach filled the air. Lily gasped, stumbling backward. White splotches bloomed across the navy fabric like a grotesque floral pattern. Her interview suit. Ruined. Mrs. Crabtree stood triumphant, the empty spray bottle dangling from her hand. "That's more like it. Now you look like you belong." Words like stinging bees. The click of Mrs. Crabtree's orthopedic shoes echoed on the freshly mopped hallway floor as she bore down on Lily. Lily had been admiring the new succulent arrangement near the mailboxes, the soft green rosettes a welcome contrast to the building's drab beige. Well, if it isn't Miss Rodriguez, Mrs. Crabtree's voice dripped with acid. Dressed to impress, are we? Going for that CEO look again. Lily straightened, a knot forming in her stomach. She smoothed down the lapels of her blazer, suddenly self-conscious. It was a new, bolder shade of turquoise than she usually wore, and she'd paired it with tailored black pants. Just going to a meeting, Mrs. Crabtree. A meeting? Or a parade? Honestly, child, this is a retirement community. Not a runway. You're disturbing the peace with those power suits. Mrs. Crabtree's face was flushed, her thin lips pursed so tightly they disappeared. It's just inappropriate. And frankly, a little sad. Trying so hard. Each word felt like a stinging bee finding its mark on Lily's confidence. Her cheeks burned. She wanted to shrink, to disappear into the potted fern beside her. You think you're better than us, don't you? Flitting around in your fancy clothes, with your big ideas. You won't amount to anything, not if you keep chasing these ridiculous dreams. The force of Mrs. Crabtree's venom was a shock. Lily's breath hitched. She remembered her mother's words, spoken years ago but suddenly vibrant. Never let anyone dim your light, Mija. Especially not when they're trying to make you small so they can feel big. Lily's shoulders straightened. The bees still stung, but she wouldn't let them paralyze her. End. The power of recording. Mrs. Crabtree's face was puce, the color of a bruised plum. You think you can just waltz in here, flaunting your success and change everything? This isn't some Silicon Valley startup, Lily. This is a community. We have rules. Lily's hands trembled, but she reached into her purse, her fingers fumbling for her phone. Mrs. Crabtree was escalating, her voice rising with each word. This wasn't just unpleasant, it was becoming dangerous. She swiped, the screen illuminating her face in the dim light of the community center. She found the voice recorder app and pressed record, the digital microphone now her only weapon. Rules are meant to be followed. Decorum must be maintained. You think your fancy clothes and your ideas impress anyone here? Mrs. Crabtree spat the words out like venom. Lily kept her gaze steady, meeting the older woman's furious glare. She had to remain calm, had to keep recording. Mrs. Crabtree advanced, her floral dress a billowing cloud of menace. You think you're better than us, don't you? Coming in here with your CEO attitude. Lily could smell the faint, cloying scent of mothballs emanating from Mrs. Crabtree's ancient cardigan. It was a smell that would forever be associated with this moment, with the raw, unfiltered rage directed at her. Lily swallowed, praying her hand wouldn't shake too much, distorting the recording. This was evidence, solid proof of the attack she knew was coming. Neighbors witness. The acrid smell of bleach hung heavy in the air, stinging Lily's nostrils. Mrs. Crabtree, chest heaving, stood triumphant, the empty spray bottle dangling from her hand. That should teach you, she spat, but the words were lost in the growing murmur rippling through the cul-de-sac. Drawn by the raised voices and the unsettling scent, neighbors emerged from their houses. Mr. Henderson, usually hidden behind his meticulously trimmed hedges, stood slack-jawed, his phone already raised. Mrs. Kim, her arms crossed, fixed Mrs. Crabtree with a withering glare. More phones appeared, recording the scene like moths to a flickering flame. You assaulted her, Agnes? Someone shouted from the back of the gathering. Alex, seeing the tide turning, grabbed his own phone. 911, what's your emergency? His voice shook slightly, but his eyes burned with determination as he relayed the incident, pointing his phone at Mrs. Crabtree. Yes, she used a chemical, bleach, on clothing and possibly skin exposure. We need an ambulance and police. Mrs. Crabtree's face, previously flushed with anger, paled. Her bravado faltered as she realized she was surrounded, her actions documented for all to see. The phones, the stares, the growing chorus of disapproval, it was a spotlight she hadn't anticipated, a judgment she couldn't control. The loneliness she usually kept at bay threatened to consume her whole. Arrested. The screech of tires ripped through the afternoon quiet. A police cruiser, lights flashing, pulled up to the curb, followed by a second. Lily's heart hammered against her ribs. This was really happening. 2 officers emerged, their expressions grim. Mrs. Crabtree, who had been pacing furiously at the edge of her meticulously manicured lawn, stopped short. Her mouth worked silently for a moment before she puffed up like a threatened blowfish. What is the meaning of this intrusion? She demanded, her voice trembling with indignation. One of the officers, a woman with a no-nonsense air, approached Lily and Alex. We received a report of assault and property damage. We need to take a look at the evidence. Alex, ever the ready champion, pulled out his phone. We have video footage. He showed them the clip of Mrs. Crabtree spraying Lily's suit. Her face contorted with rage. The officer's eyebrows rose. She consulted with her partner, then turned back to Mrs. Crabtree. Ma'am, we need to ask you a few questions. Several neighbors had gathered now, murmuring amongst themselves. One, Mrs. Peterson, stepped forward. I saw the whole thing. She was yelling about Lily's inappropriate attire and then just attacked her with that bleach bottle. The officer nodded, then turned to Mrs. Crabtree. Agnes Crabtree, you are under arrest for assault and property damage. Mrs. Crabtree's face crumpled. This is ridiculous. I'm being persecuted. That girl provoked me. The officer produced handcuffs. As they snapped shut around her wrists, Mrs. Crabtree let out a wail that echoed down the street. This isn't fair. I'll sue you all. A community's embrace. The sight of the police car retreating down the street felt surreal. Lily stood on her porch, the acrid smell of bleach still clinging to the air, and a fresh wave of humiliation washed over her. But then Mrs. Gable from across the street, her silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, approached with a Tupperware container. Honey, I made you some lasagna. You looked like you could use a hot meal. Before Lily could respond, Mr. Henderson, the retired carpenter, shuffled over, his weathered hands holding a small, intricately carved wooden bird. Found this in my workshop. Thought it might bring you some cheer. Soon others followed. A bouquet of sunflowers from young Mateo, a plate of cookies from the Millers, words of comfort and outrage directed at Karen. Alex, still simmering with anger, stood beside her, a silent but solid presence. They can't believe what happened, Lily, he muttered, his jaw tight. Everyone's on your side. Lily's throat tightened. She hadn't realized how deeply she'd become embedded in this small community. The lasagna, the bird, the flowers, they weren't just gifts, they were declarations of solidarity. A wave of warmth spread through her, pushing back the chill of the bleach. Then a familiar car pulled up to the curb. Her mom rushed out, her face etched with concern. Oh, Mija, she cried, enveloping Lily in a hug. I heard everything. Are you okay? In that moment, surrounded by the comforting scent of her mother's perfume and the tangible support of her neighbors, Lily felt a surge of resilience. The bleach might have ruined her suit, but it hadn't touched her spirit. And she wasn't alone. Patches of pride. The bleach stains mocked Lily from the navy fabric, pale ghosts of what the suit had been. Her mom dabbed at them with a damp cloth. Vinegar, she suggested, her brow furrowed with concentration. Lily held her breath as her mom blotted again. Nothing. The stain remained defiant. Lily slumped. It's ruined, she whispered, the dream of conquering the pitch meeting dissolving like sugar in water. Her mom straightened, a spark in her eye. Ruined? No way. We'll just reimagine it. She rummaged in her sewing basket, pulling out a riot of colorful fabric scraps. Patches. We'll cover those stains with patches. Make it even better. Lily's initial discouragement warred with a budding sense of possibility. She chose a vibrant floral print, its yellows and reds echoing the fire in her belly. Her mom selected a geometric design in turquoise and orange, then a playful polka dot. They worked together, carefully cutting and stitching, transforming the damaged suit into a vibrant tapestry of color and pattern. The next morning, Lily stood before the mirror wearing her new suit. It wasn't the sleek, power-dressing uniform she'd envisioned, but it was something more. It was a testament to resilience, to creativity, to the unwavering support of her mom. The patches shouted, I'm here, I'm bold, and I won't be silenced. As she walked out the door, she felt a surge of confidence, a vibrant energy that radiated from the colorful fabric. This wasn't just a suit, it was armor. And she was ready to face anything.